The National Desk, America's News Now.
Red-hot inflation hitting Americans hard. Consumers paying skyrocketing costs.
It's just breaking the bank. I still have to go to work every day, and I'm not making any more money.
The latest report showing inflation is slipping, but why economists say you won't notice a difference in your wallet. Plus, record-breaking gas prices breaking the bank.
A big chunk of my paychecks now are going towards filling up my card.
Just how much higher it's expected to go, and when we could finally see some relief.
It's going to be a pretty bumpy ride this summer.
And an abortion rights showdown.
Babies never choose to die! What do we do? Stand up, fight back!
A vote on Capitol Hill fails. Democrats pushing for protection, Republicans blasting it as a radical attempt to expand reproductive rights.
For liberal Democrats, it's the right wants to take away women's right to choose. On the right, it's we finally won. We're finally getting forward to push other cultural war issues.
But what's being done on both sides of the aisle to keep abortion rights? Plus a dramatic end to a nationwide manhunt.
This has ended a very long and stressful and challenging week and a half.
An escaped inmate captured, his corrections officer lover dead.
You don't know who you can trust.
How the chaotic multi-state chase ended after 11 days on the run. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Eugene Ramirez. On this weekend edition, we take a look at the big headlines of the week and to look ahead at what to expect. We're following 4 big stories for you this week. The Labor Department's April inflation report showing a slight dip in inflation, but we're still seeing those higher prices on store shelves. Gas prices breaking records once again. A vote to codify abortion rights into law failing in the Senate, but more attempts brewing. And the nationwide manhunt for an Alabama inmate comes to a dramatic and deadly end, all caught on a 911 call audio recording. First, the April inflation report showing some prices for everyday goods fell while others went up. Now, policymakers responsible for stabilizing prices say they should have acted sooner. The National Desk's Zandra El-Nashar has this story.
In April, the prices Americans paid were all over the map. Grocery costs last month rose 1% from March. Eggs, meat, and bread seeing the biggest hikes. Many economists warned about this as Russia's war in Ukraine upends supply chains in the region known as Europe's breadbasket. The president, who's taking heat for higher prices, focused on food costs during a stop at a family farm in Illinois Wednesday. The other top drivers of inflation in April, new cars, airfare, and housing. The cost of buying a home compounded by rising interest rates. As reports surface about policymakers at the Fed who have a mandate to stabilize prices, acknowledging they were too slow to act. While some relief came as gas prices fell 6.1% last month, a surge in prices happening now could wipe out that progress. Economic advisor to the president, Jared Bernstein.
Oil is globally priced, and so there's always a million moving parts. But when you're talking about the release of 180 million barrels from our strategic reserve, that's a million a day for 6 months.
But Republicans on Capitol Hill aren't buying it.
It's higher today than when Joe Biden raided Spro the last time, which, by the way, was the 3rd time he's raided Spro.
Right, but it is declining. Doesn't that show that progress is being made?
The gas prices are higher today than they were a few weeks ago.
Meanwhile, another political fight is unfolding here on the Hill about potential economic setbacks for women and girls who could lose access to abortion if Roe v. Wade is overturned.
Denying women access to abortion increase their odds of living in poverty or need for public assistance.
Debate around abortion in a meeting for the economic stability of our country is harsh.
Some hoping inflation has hit its peak. Many economists say it's too early to tell. Either way, virtually all agree Americans are in for more months of higher prices. On Capitol Hill, I'm Zandra El-Nashar for the National Desk, America's News Now.
Meanwhile, gas prices are going up again. On Friday, the national average reaching $4.43 per gallon. National Desk Ryan Smith spoke with drivers about this ongoing fuel price frustration.
Prices at the pump soaring to record highs. One analyst now tells me we could be paying $4.50 a gallon on average in the next few days? Well, check this out. Drivers here in Arlington, Virginia already know exactly what that's like. It's another blow to your budget. Gas prices climbing 17 cents in the past week alone, only adding to inflationary pressures felt nationwide.
Now, I'm seeing almost 25% increase in my fill-up price. So before it used to cost me $45. Now it's $60, $65.
This driver, like so many others, now changing daily driving habits due to rising prices.
So I've started kind of doing the math and how much each mile basically costs me, right? So it's 10 cents, 15 cents. So it's is it worth really going to hang out with my friends?
$4.62 for a gallon of unleaded at this Virginia gas station outside of Washington, D.C. Haynes Jordan tells me he spends about $60 to fill up.
I don't go out as much nearly. It's more back and forth home to work. And if I'm going out, then catching a ride with friends.
The national average dipped to $4.07 a gallon in April. This after a record-setting release of oil from the emergency reserves. But industry analysts predicted at the time short-lived relief.
I'm not surprised that we've set new records for the retail price of gasoline.
Analyst Andy Lippo tells the National Desk natural gas prices are even more volatile than gasoline. Consumers should prepare for sticker shock this summer.
Higher electricity bills, higher home water heating bills, higher cooking costs. Natural gas is used to produce fertilizer, so you can see how that would trickle through to higher food costs.
Now keep this in mind. When you adjust for inflation, real gas prices would need to climb above $5.30 a gallon to break those records set back in 2008. In Arlington, Virginia, Ryan Smith for the National Desk.
On Capitol Hill this week, the battle over abortion rights taking center stage. Senate Republicans blocking legislation that would codify Roe v. Wade into federal law. But it wasn't just Republicans who didn't agree with that bill. Moderate Democrat Joe Manchin saying his colleagues simply went too far.
It is not Roe v. Wade codification. It's an expansion. It wipes 500 state laws off the books. It expands abortion.
Well, this issue now just picking up steam. Right now, proposals are coming from both sides of the aisle on how to move forward. On the Republican side, Senator Susan Collins of Maine saying she's working with Democrats to create a more bipartisan version of legislation she previously introduced earlier this year. That would make the protections in Roe v. Wade federal law, but would still allow states to implement restrictions on the procedure, things such as waiting periods or mandatory doctor's appointments. Meantime, Democrats calling for voters to mobilize ahead of the midterm elections. The president released a statement shortly after that failed Senate vote, saying in part, to protect the right to choose, voters need to elect more pro-choice senators this November and return a pro-choice majority to the House. The final moments of Vicky White's life, recorded on a 911 call. She's the Alabama corrections officer who helped inmate Casey White escape on April 29th. Authorities say she shot herself in the head as U.S. Marshals closed in on the pair. Moments before pulling the trigger, right after their car crashed in the chase, there was a call made to 911 from their car. Here's some of the audio from that call.
John. Airbags are going on. Let's get out and run. Get us back to the hotel.
What you heard there at the very end is the gunshot. Meantime, Casey White, the inmate, you see him here. He's in state prison in Alabama right now. Aside from his escape-related charges, he's awaiting trial on an unrelated murder charge, and he was already serving a 75-year sentence for other crimes when he escaped. A baby formula shortage pushing parents to desperate measures. Coming up, the alternatives some are turning to feed their children and what hospitals are recommending instead. And a spike in crime causing some states to reconsider bans on facial recognition technology. How experts say this technology could be abused. You're watching the National Desk, America's News Now. You can watch us live weekdays from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Time, and anytime online at thenationaldesk.com. We're back after this. The National Desk's team of reporters bringing you the headlines from coast to coast. We are taking the pulse of America, and we start in Utah, where a teacher's controversial TikTok post is now under investigation.
Man, I could could never imagine being in 5th grade saying these things out loud.
Mark Yursick, the executive director at Renaissance Academy, says the TikTok video teacher Jenna Hall posted from his school does not reflect their values or policy.
We became aware of a video that was posted to social media on Friday, and we've opened an investigation. The teacher is currently on leave, pending the results of that investigation.
This is the TikTok video.
My kids from last year are now in 5th grade, and they come visit me almost every day after school. And a lot of them are queer because I am queer.
We have a policy, a code of conduct policy, where we outline in great detail what we consider to be the boundaries and what's professional and what's not, to the point of breaking down specific types of behavior. Saying this is okay, this is not okay.
The executive director says the content of the video crosses that boundary. As far as students having a safe space to go for sensitive topics, for success, they staff social workers.
I do expect there to be parents concerned with a lot of questions. That's primarily why we want to get our investigation completed so that we can have more of a dialogue.
In Ohio, families are desperate to find baby formula for their children as shortages sweep across the country. Some families turning to alternatives like cow's milk or buying breast milk online. Dayton Children's Hospital says that could be risky, but families say they just don't know what else to do to feed their babies.
I had one mother just break down and crying on the phone. She goes, what am I going to do? I can't find it. And we didn't have one in stock because we just had our last ones all went out on Friday.
The hospital encouraging families to ask their pediatrician about safe formula alternatives. In Washington, passengers left stranded as a battle between the pilots union and Alaska Airlines causes dozens of delays and cancellations. Alaska Airlines confirming it canceled more than 37 flights from Seattle's airport Tuesday. Now pilots threatening to strike as their union continues contract negotiations with the airline.
The advantage for the pilots this time, of course, is the fact that there's actually a shortage of pilots.
Alaska Airlines says the vote to strike is common in the negotiation process, and even if pilots go on strike, passengers will not be impacted. But independent flight data shows Alaska Airlines had one of the highest cancellation rates among air carriers last weekend. Well, as the country continues to deal with sky-high inflation, the Biden administration shifting its messaging. The fact-check team digging into those talking points for some context.
Last week during the Fed's announcement, Jerome Powell saying he's concerned inflation could shift from being transitory to becoming entrenched in the U.S. economy. I'm here with the Fact Check team tonight to help us break down for some more economic context on this. So, Anna Marie, we first start with you. Break down those specific terms right there, transitory versus entrenched inflation.
So, transitory inflation means higher prices will be short-lived and won't lead to any permanent economic damage. Last summer, the Biden administration said the high prices Americans have been seeing would only be a temporary problem that would resolve once the supply chain issues and the economy rebounded. But the Fed retired using that term in the fall and recently used the term entrenched, meaning that it could be something that would stick around and something that they would want to avoid from happening. So Fed Chair Jerome Powell said in a hearing this month that it's their job to make sure that the high inflation the U.S. is seeing right now doesn't become entrenched in the economy.
So, Connor, it begs the question, does it look like inflation will be entrenched in the economy moving forward?
Well, we could look to the past for some insight here. During World Wars I and II, prices grew rapidly because of supply shortages, but they did fall once the wars were over. But in the 1970s, high oil prices and policy changes by President Nixon led the U.S. to its longest stretch of inflation. The Fed did intervene here and raised interest rates as high as 16%, eventually throwing the U.S. into a recession, but this did finally lower these interest rates.
So will it take another economic recession to get our inflation rates back to normal?
Well, luckily the Fed doesn't think so because our unemployment rate looks nothing like it did in the 1970s and our economy is stronger. The White House says World War II is actually a better comparison here, which means inflation could quickly decline once our supply chains are back to normal.
Well, the Fact Check team's full inflation breakdown and links to where they found all of their information is online right now at thenationaldesk.com. Check it out. Still ahead, signs the U.S. could be on a collision course with China. Policy expert Gordon Chang explains how the two countries are approaching the situation with Taiwan. A New York Times report claims the Biden administration is quietly pressing Taiwan to order American weapons in preparation for a possible invasion by China. Meantime, columnist and author Gordon Chang saying China has entered a new era. He writes, quote, Xi, almost 69, believes he will incorporate Taiwan into the People's Republic of China. China's ruler now thinks he can get away with war. Well, this week, the National Desk's Jan Jeffcoat spoke with Chang, and here's some of that interview.
Even before Russia's invasion, Gordon, we talked about this. China long ago claimed Taiwan. I want you to take a listen to what Avril Haines, the director of the National Intelligence Agency, had to say just yesterday.
They are working hard to effectively put themselves into a position in which their military is capable of taking Taiwan over our intervention. That is something that they are trying to achieve, even as what General Barrier stated earlier is true, which is to say that they would prefer not to have to use military force to take Taiwan. They'd prefer to use other means.
But she went on to say they will use military force, even if it means that they have to also be in that with America, right? So how is what's happening in Ukraine fueling China's resolve and perhaps even speed up their own timetable?
I think the Chinese looked at the war in Ukraine, and the most important lesson they took away, Jan, was a failure of deterrence, the greatest failure since the Second World War. You had the United States, the European Union, Great Britain on one side, so much more powerful than Russia, and yet failing to stop the Russians from crossing into Ukraine. I think the Chinese look at that and said that American diplomacy has failed and that it will fail with regard to Taiwan as well. It very well may mean, I think the Chinese look at the war in Ukraine, it may give them some second thoughts on tactics. It might slow them down a little bit. But this year, there was never going to be an invasion of the main island. And the reason is that the Chinese leadership is embroiled in intense leadership disputes in the run-up to the 20th National Congress, which, if tradition holds, will be held at the end of this year. But starting next year, I think all bets are off, and we've got to be extremely concerned about China going for the main island itself, or maybe some of Taiwan's outlying islands.
And in your latest column, I want to point this out, too, because you wrote Chinese officials have seen the effect of sanctions imposed on Russia after it launched its special military operation in Ukraine in February, and they are planning to weather any such measures applied to their own country. In China's fragile state, even mild American sanctions could have an enormous effect. Russia-type sanctions could possibly collapse the Chinese economy. So, Gordon, talk us through this. If Russian-like sanctions could have a drastic impact on their economy, why is China still willing to take that risk? And also, what effect would that have on the global economy?
The Chinese right now are extremely arrogant, Chan. They believe that the United States would not impose sanctions on China, or sanctions would be mild. And this arrogance goes back the last 3 or 4 years, where you have Chinese policymakers and leaders basically tell us that they think the United States is in decline, we can't oppose China, and they can do whatever they want. That's a very dangerous mindset. I'm not saying they're right, but that's what's important is not what's true. What's important is what the Chinese actually think. And they think that they can take Taiwan, grab parts of Japan, the Philippines, India, and that really nobody can effectively oppose them.
So what should the U.S. be doing right now to deter China from possibly invading Taiwan, especially as we hear reports of the administration urging Taiwan to purchase weapons for defense against China?
I think President Biden should publicly say the United States will defend Taiwan, that we'll offer them a mutual defense treaty if they want it. We will recognize their sovereignty. We should start sending weapons there. And we should even base U.S. troops on the island as a tripwire. That strategy has worked with regard to South Korea, which faces a militarily strong North Korea. I mean, has kept the peace now for 7 decades. I think the same thing will work in Taiwan as well.
And while I have you here, I'm wondering if you could share your thoughts on China's zero COVID policy. What is the political strategy behind these unprecedented lockdowns?
Xi Jinping wants a third term as General Secretary of the Communist Party. He's known as the author of the zero COVID policy, which is causing the lockdowns. And so he's not allowing any criticism of it, even though it's clear that that policy is terribly misguided. Also, the Communist Party in the early days of the pandemic, going back to the first months of 2020, made its control of the coronavirus a test of its legitimacy, telling the world that it can control the disease better. Therefore, its form of governance is better than America's. So every case number in China, every death is really a critical threat to the legitimacy of the Communist Party.
And I know you used to live in Shanghai and you've done work there and you probably have contacts there still as well. What are they telling you right now? What are you hearing?
Well, it's clearly that, people are frustrated. We've seen people to jump off those balconies, killing themselves. People have been breaking out into the streets, breaking quarantine rules, scrounging for food. What's happened in Shanghai, which considers itself to be like the world's most sophisticated city, it's turned into a primitive state. And that, of course, is breeding a lot of anger against the Communist Party, especially because its coronavirus lockdowns are perceived as actually spreading disease right now. And so therefore, the party's taking, its reputation is taking a beating. But of course, it has control of force, monopoly of force, so it can do what it wants.
Gordon Chang, always great to have you on and get your expertise on this topic. We appreciate you joining us this morning here on the National Desk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jan.
Well, right now, some cities are rethinking past promises to ban facial recognition software, with crime spiking all across the country. Virginia is reportedly reversing its ban on the technology, and California considering doing the same this month. Meantime, New Orleans also thinking about taking back its ban after the murder rate there jumped 67% over the last 2 years alone. Some experts, however, worry the technology could easily be abused by governments.
There's just not federal law in place to regulate how biometrics and facial recognition in particular are used. The number of potential risks, especially as the use of facial recognition technology increases, it becomes more of a target for people, for criminals.
Between 2019 and 2021, the 15 states you see highlighted here on this map approved facial recognition restrictions. Trending online, one couple set sails on a cruise ship 1 year ago. They don't plan on coming back. Crazy story. Why they say it made more sense to stay at sea than come back and live on land. That's next. Taking a look at our top trending stories on our website right now. One Seattle couple living their dream of retiring to a life of travel, living on cruise ships. Angelo and Richard Burke have been cruise ship hopping for the last year after discovering it would be cheaper than their regular living expenses. For now, they have no plans to get back to land. The world's only no-nuplets, that's 9 children, celebrated their first birthday this month. Doctors initially thought there were only 7 babies, but at 30 weeks, the mom gave birth to a Guinness World Record-breaking 4 boys and 5 girls in Morocco. You can find those stories and a whole lot more on our website right now, thenationaldesk.com. Giving you a look at the week ahead, the Supreme Court expected to release opinions Monday. Justices could issue 1 or more rulings from cases argued during the current term. The Pennsylvania Senate primaries will be held Tuesday. Former President Donald Trump's endorsement of TV personality Dr. Oz will be put to the test as GOP candidate Kathy Barnett quickly became a favorite in the recent days. Also happening Tuesday, Congress set to hold a hearing on UFOs. This will be the first time they do that in more than 50 years. The discussion likely to center on a key government report from last year that revealed 144 unidentified aerial phenomena encounters from 2004 to 2021. Straight ahead, rising gas prices breaking records once again. How much more people are paying at the pump and how high experts say prices could climb with the summer travel surge. And not taking no for an answer, why sitting members of Congress must now answer to the committee investigating the riot at the U.S. Capitol or possibly face some legal consequences. Next. You're watching the National Desk, America's News Now. Watch us live weekdays from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Time, and anytime online at thenationaldesk.com. We'll be right back.
The National Desk, America's News Now.
Promising new inflation numbers not adding up to lower prices. How much more Americans are paying at the grocery store and to keep a roof over their heads. And gas prices reaching sky-high levels, shattering records left and right. What industry experts say could keep gas prices at bay as demand continues to climb.
A nationwide baby formula shortage sending desperate parents on anxiety-induced hunts. I'm Ryan Smith in Washington. The White House response and how soon before parents may see any potential relief.
This is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Eugene Ramirez. This week, red-hot inflation continuing to take its toll, from food to gas to housing. Families right now struggling to afford basic necessities. New government data shows the April prices were 8.3% higher than they were a year ago. Now, that is a slight decrease from the 8.5% increase recorded in March, which marked the highest inflation level in more than 40 years. Food was one of the biggest factors in April. The price of meat, poultry, fish, and eggs up 1.4%. Eggs alone spiking 10.3%. And look at this, housing costs for renters and owners going up 0.5% for the third month in a row now. Meantime, some good news here. Gas prices dipping last month, but now they're back to setting records once again. The national average for a gallon of regular gas hitting $4.43 on Friday. It was $4.08 a month ago. $3.02 at this time last year. Diesel, by the way, up to $5.56. The National Desk's Megan O'Halloran spoke with Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan to ask if the summer travel season could drive prices at the pump even higher.
Certainly that's a risk that I think we could see, especially compounded by the fact that there's less refining capacity than there was back in 2019. In fact, the U.S. Saw about 1 million barrel a day loss in refining capacity. So that ups the ante. Demand is going to be very high, but refineries have a reduced ability to meet that demand, and that could push prices even higher yet.
Well, I want your take on this. Today, President Biden said again that soaring gas prices due to the pandemic and Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine. When asked if his administration holds any responsibility, President Biden said his policies help, not hurt Americans. Do you think the Biden administration is doing all it can to cut gas prices? And do you see any other solution here?
No, I think that's I think that's a little bit dishonest, frankly. I think the president certainly could do much more. He paraded into the White House and canceled the Keystone Pipeline and issued a drilling moratorium. He's tried to go after the oil and gas segment. There's no way to deny that. Now, have those impacts or have those policy changes really caused prices to go up? No, not so much. We're in the midst of a Russian war in Ukraine, in which Western countries are sanctioning Russia, keeping their oil from the global market. And that, along with COVID, is continuing to cause prices to go up. But the president could absolutely do more. Rescind his policies that he implemented early in the administration and let the free market work.
Well, have gas prices been impacted much after President Biden announced plans to tap into the Strategic Petroleum Reserve? Are Americans seeing any short or long-term relief as a result of that? What's been the fluctuation of gas prices?
Yeah, we haven't really seen the SPR release pushing prices down. The challenge is the president released 1 million barrels a day, but it still pales in comparison to Russia's exports. I mean, Russia exports 4.5 million barrels a day to Europe alone, and now Europe's talking about stopping that flow of oil. So the risk is here that we continue to widen an imbalance between global supply and demand, and that's certainly not going to be good for gas prices.
Well, despite the increase in prices at the pump, oil prices fell below $100 a barrel. Is that indicative of future potential savings that we could be seeing soon?
It certainly could be. The problem has been in the last few weeks, we've seen an extreme amount of volatility with oil prices gyrating violently. And so it's hard to know if the decrease in oil prices Monday and Tuesday earlier this week will continue to keep prices down, or if they will stick around long enough for gas prices to go down.
How long do you foresee gas prices trending above the average $4 a gallon mark?
I think that's something that we could see through the summer months and potentially into the fall or maybe even winter. I think that's more of a function of how long the Russian invasion of Ukraine will continue. I think once we get some sort of long-term resolution there, we could see prices come down in a more meaningful way.
All right, Patrick DeHaan from Gas Buddy, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Well, if these rising prices weren't bad enough, parents nationwide right now scrambling to find baby formula. The National Desk's Ryan Smith has more on the shortage, now sparking a response from the White House.
One of the nation's largest formula suppliers announcing Wednesday it plans to resume operations in 2 weeks. This after a massive recall shut down its Michigan plant. Desperate parents hoping to find bare shelves restocked once again.
Just the thought of not being able to feed your baby, it's scary.
The same fear sweeping households from coast to coast.
It's a mix of frustration, fear,
a little bit of anger thrown in there.
Courtney Houston, a mother of two, describes the moment so many other parents are now experiencing. Their favorite formula missing from store shelves. She's since switched to cow's milk.
And that's when like your heart sinks. You're like, okay, there's something seriously wrong. It's terrifying.
The out-of-stock rate reaching 43%, up nearly a quarter since last fall. The problem rooted in the tight supply chain, made worse by a production halt at an Abbott nutrition facility in Michigan. 3 popular brands recalled because of potential bacterial infections. If the FDA signs off, the company says that plant could be up and running within 2 weeks. Many now driving and an anxiety-induced hunt while paying record prices for gasoline.
We'd probably drive 20 to 30 miles, and then we had friends that lived in other counties that would check for us.
Some in need are now turning to pantries where staff themselves are scrambling to retrieve last-minute shipments.
I had an hour notice, and they're like, if you want it, come down to Milwaukee. And I'm like, I will be there in an hour and a half. I can't be there any faster.
In this moment of desperation, doctors warn against making your own formula, risking contamination and or missing key nutrients. Any parent in need should reach out to their pediatrician. And just this week, more than 100 House Republicans now calling on the Biden administration to address this ongoing shortage. White House officials calling this a top priority. They are working 24/7 to fix. In Washington, Ryan Smith for the National Desk.
On Capitol Hill, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack is just weeks away from public hearings, but its work not quite finished yet. The committee issuing subpoenas this week to 5 of their congressional colleagues, none bigger than House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. He was a critic of President Trump in the immediate aftermath of the attack, but has since changed his tune. Also subpoenaed are Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, Scott Perry, Andy Biggs, and Mo Brooks. This week, Elon Musk announcing he would reverse former President Trump's Twitter ban. He says the original decision to ban Trump was, quote, morally wrong and stupid. Musk says the platform should be cautious about issuing permanent bans, reserving them only for spam or scam accounts. Twitter banned Trump just days after the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, fearing that he would provoke more violence with his election fraud claims. The former president, though, says he's not interested in rejoining Twitter. He is instead posting on his own app, Truth Social. Meantime, the SEC is investigating Elon Musk's Twitter stock purchase, specifically whether it was properly disclosed. Experts say a delayed disclosure allowed the Tesla CEO to buy even more stock at a lower price, saving him more than $143 million by not alerting other shareholders about his plan to buy the company. Investors are required to notify the SEC within 10 days of their trades surpassing 5% of a company. Well, in this case, Musk waited more than 2 weeks before filing. The president mulling over student loan forgiveness. But since this is far from being a done deal, we were curious about what other options are out there. The fact check team investigating other ways students can pay off this debt.
We've heard the arguments for and against student loan forgiveness, but there are already existing options out there that students can take advantage of today. I'm back with the fact check team tonight. Connor, you looked into some of those other specific options out there for students.
Yeah, and there's several, and a common one is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. And you can qualify for this program if you work full-time for the U.S. federal, state, local, or tribal government, or for a not-for-profit organization. But here's the thing, less than 2% of applicants were approved for this program between 2017 and 2020. And according to the U.S. Government Accountability Office, 92% of military service members who applied were denied by the Department of Education last year.
So why was that the case?
Well, there's just a ton of rules and red tape that applicants have to go through to prove they can qualify for this program. But the Biden administration did loosen the program's rules for 1 year, which has helped about 1,500 members of the military get loan forgiveness.
So what if you're not a service member, though? What other programs are out there to help students pay off their debt?
Well, probably the most popular one is the student loan interest tax deduction. I know it's late. People may be falling asleep on their couches right now, but if you're fresh out of school and you file your own taxes and you're watching this right now, you may want to listen up because you can earn up to $2,500 in tax refunds each year if you're paying interest on your student loans. You can also take advantage of the deduction if you're paying off a spouse spouse or dependent's student loan.
Julian, some would argue, though, $2,500, what kind of dent does that make when you owe thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in debt?
True, which is why some states have student loan forgiveness programs specific to certain industries that pay way more. For instance, in Massachusetts, there's a loan repayment program for health professionals that can cover up to $50,000 worth of debt. The same thing goes for aspiring lawyers in Washington, D.C. There's a program there run by the local Bar Foundation that covers up to $12,000 if you participate. So there are other options out there, especially for fields like health and law.
Julian and Connor with tonight's breakdown. Thank you so much. The Fact Check team will continue to follow developments on this and several other issues. You can also read the story with links to where they found all of their information tonight on our website right there, thenationaldesk.com.
And still ahead, new hope for home buyers. The new proposal to make it easier for struggling buyers to compete with investment firms. Plus, rethinking a home on the road. How high gas prices are impacting the RV world. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. Our team of nearly 4,000 local journalists bringing you the headlines from coast to coast, from a proposal to help new home buyers in Ohio to high gas prices impacting RV sales. We're taking the pulse of America, and we start in Seattle, where a homeless camp was cleared out.
One by one, the tents and structures started coming down as Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell made good on his promise to clear out Woodland Park. Thomas Street, who was homeless, says sweeps like this only help to a point.
I think they work to the point where it makes the people that are responsible get off their butts and do the job.
City officials say months of outreach work paid off to bring people indoors. They say 83 people accepted shelter referrals since efforts began earlier this year. That includes 27 just today. Another 5 people declined any help and left the park on their own.
Just going back out onto the street.
Find somewhere to tent. Just prop a tent up, I guess. I mean, what else can they do, I guess?
Como News asked city officials to explain how sweeping encampments will work in the long term.
People just end up a few blocks away, if not a block away.
As for the offers of shelter the city made,
An offer is often hollow. I've offered you this, but did you drive them? Did you check them in?
Realtor Molly Tomes has plenty of clients ready to buy. The problem is finding someone willing to sell to them.
We have lots that are just like trying and trying and trying and losing, even though they're giving their highest and best.
But their highest and best offer is oftentimes no match for what large investment firms are plonking down.
Competing with a cash buyer, it's really difficult to win.
Ohio State Senator Bill Blessing says his bill would even the score, at least for foreclosed home sales. If an investor wins the home at auction, that would trigger a 45-day freeze on the sale.
There's a 45-day period where there's a sort of tiered system of who can actually purchase the home.
People renting the home in question come first, then individual buyers and nonprofit groups. If no one matches the investor's offer, the investor would eventually be able to buy.
We have multiple houses, and that's a way of creating and really pulling personally myself out of poverty and creating more wealth for my family.
The Apple Creek Campground in Wrightstown is already full for Memorial Day weekend.
I think everyone is just dying to get outside with the warmer weather, and hopefully this will continue a little bit.
They're almost out of monthly sites for the summer as well.
We're actually almost out of monthly sites for the summer, which is a new thing this year, which is, I'm assuming is because of the gas prices.
RV dealers say their sales have picked up this month too.
We see a lot of younger families that have gotten into camping because it is still relatively an inexpensive form of entertainment for them. A lot of people are staying local, like you say. It seems like the maximum people are going is 2 hours.
Even if it's putting in an extra $20 or whatever for gas to go someplace, you're going to want to do that just because you want to take advantage of the great weather that we have here.
And still to come, out of control inflation. Coming up, our team of correspondents breaking down the new Consumer Price Index and how much longer we can expect these high prices to stick around. And crime concerns, an iconic city overrun by homelessness and drugs. We're taking you inside a troubled neighborhood to see what's being done to turn things around.
Welcome back to TND. Our Washington Bureau's correspondents, producers, videographers, and editors are covering Capitol Hill and D.C. every day to report the important issues facing the country and how they impact you. Two of our correspondents, Scott Thuman and Atra El-Nashar, they're here with us to share their insights and analysis. Atra, new inflation numbers this week. It appears as if higher prices are here for a while, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly. So we saw the annual inflation rate for April go down to 8.3% from March's 8.5%. So it improved a bit, but Americans don't really seem to be feeling it. We know it's still the top issue on their mind. So even if we stay at this same rate of decline when it comes to inflation, or maybe get more, it speeds up and gets lower faster, we are still in for months, maybe more than a year of high prices. So really the question is, can the Federal Reserve engineer the so-called soft landing? Can they raise interest rates, reduce their balance sheet in a way that slows demand without triggering a recession? And some troubling insight into what the future might hold came this week when Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said in an NPR interview that there are some things that are just out of the Fed's control that could determine whether that landing is soft or a crash. He cited geopolitical factors. Of course, there's the war in Ukraine, lockdowns in China, all of which are delivering disruptions to the supply chain, keeping goods from moving to shelves, which market factors just mean it's driving prices up. So really more turbulence, more volatility expected, and there's not much that seems to be in the cards for policymakers to make that any better.
Yeah, it's interesting. And making matters worse, gas and diesel prices hitting record highs as well. What's the Biden administration trying to do with that?
Right. So we've already seen the Biden administration do this record release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve to increase supply. There's been some hiccups in actually getting that to market. But really, they're just sending out this sort of sentiment to oil and gas companies to produce more. But I talked to the American Petroleum Institute about this week, and they say that, they're getting mixed signals. For instance, the Department of the Interior canceled 3 oil and gas lease sales this week. I asked them why. They tell me it's because of court rulings holding up work on these leases, but also they say a lack of industry interest. So sort of mixed signals here as there's this overall shift to clean energy. Oil producers aren't sure if they want to invest in more production. So really, you're just seeing this clash, and the American people, in the meantime, are paying for it.
Right. No immediate relief for inflation, probably no immediate relief for gas prices. Scott, all of these pocketbook issues dominating this year's midterm races. All eyes will be on one state on Tuesday.
Yeah, Steve, we're keeping a really close eye on what's going on in Pennsylvania right now, because this is pivotal for the Republicans if they want to regain control in the Senate, but they've got a bit of a surprise. This was about a 2-person race for so long between TV celebrity Dr. Oz, who has former President Trump's endorsement, and then, of course, David McCormick, who was a great success with hedge funds. But suddenly now the surprise is Kathy Barnett. She's almost neck and neck with the other two when it comes to polling. And this could be a problem for the GOP down the road, because this is someone who is seen as controversial. She's alleged that the 2020 election was stolen from former President Trump. She has made what many people consider to be strongly critical, anti-Muslim comments over the years, even questioned President Obama's personal history. So the concern is that even if she is to win here in the primary for Republicans down the road in a general election, it would be very easy for Democrats to vilify her, to essentially show that this is someone who's out of touch and not fit for office, and therefore they could lose that seat. That would be costly for Republicans if they were not to take this Senate seat. And of course, it's not just the Senate race. You've also got some controversy brewing on the House side as well. You've got Pennsylvania State Senator Doug Mastriano, who is seen as perhaps even more controversial, took part in the January 6th rallies. Some NBC reporting alleges he even went past barriers at times. So these are a couple of seats that really you have to look at and see whether or not the Republicans are hurting themselves by putting someone forward in the primaries that is a big liability in the general election in November.
We'll be watching very closely. Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman, National Correspondent Atra El-Nashar. Thank you both. Eugene, back to you.
And a big thanks to our Capitol Hill team. Still ahead, an iconic city losing its luster. What led to historic San Francisco being filled with crime, homelessness, and illegal drugs? San Francisco, often in the crime headlines these days. Homelessness and drug-related crime spiraling in one historic section of the city. Full Measure's Cheryl Atkinson visited the troubled San Francisco neighborhood known as the Tenderloin.
A short walk from City Hall, the famously gritty Tenderloin district in San Francisco. It's become infamous as an open-air market for drug dealers and users. A neighborhood so rough that our drive-by after dusk drew a violent response.
Go! What was that? What was that? I don't know. Go!
A chunk of wood hurled through the rear window of our van.
And you're saying the tone of the neighborhood changes a lot right here?
Oh, it changes radically when you get to Eddy and Hyde, because the next block is the worst block of a neighborhood. You have 50 to 100 drug dealers doing business every single day, and rarely, if ever, does a police officer show up.
Talking about right up this street.
1 block from where
Randy Shaw heads up the Tenderloin Housing Clinic, which advocates for residents in low-income housing. The way he sees it, a current hyper-focus on the homeless is a diversion from the real issue.
If you eliminate drug dealers in the Tenderloin, we would be fine. You wouldn't have to do anything else. That is 90% of the problem. But people have a need, for whatever reason, talk about homelessness, people with mental health problems. They're all over San Francisco. What distinguishes the Tenderloin is the toleration for massive open-air drug dealing.
Things are so bad, a major sub-economy is formed, starting with San Francisco shelling out more than $1 billion over the last 2 years on homelessness. Millions more taxpayer funds go to a nonprofit social program called Urban Alchemy. Their workers, mostly ex-cons, line the streets. They're tasked with peacefully turning around tough neighborhoods by cleaning them up, having conversations, and providing support.
So our Urban Alchemy is to clean up all these blocks from 7 to 7. We need the police to come in other hours, and they've just been nowhere to be found. And
in all the hours we spent in the Tenderloin, we didn't see one uniformed police officer along the most notorious strip, on foot or in a patrol car. We did see people lined up to use drugs in broad daylight, and lots of drug dealers doing business with no fear of being stopped. Right now, Urban Alchemy reportedly has about 20 contracts in California worth $50 million to try to improve rough neighborhoods. That's expected to expand to $100 million over the next couple of years, employing 1,500 ex-prison inmates. For Full Measure, I'm Cheryl Atkinson.
Well, that does it for this weekend edition of the National Desk, America's News Now. Don't forget you can catch us live from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 10 p.m. till midnight Eastern Time. Check your local listings for that. You can also watch us online and catch up with all the latest headlines at thenationaldesk.com. I'm Eugene Ramirez. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend.